Hello again. Chris Lee and Chase Robinson set to preview Tennessee and North Carolina State in Charlotte. The Vols got a huge blowout win over Chattanooga and were very impressive offensively in week one. NC State probably wasn't the start that the Wolfpack wanted, but they are playing in their home state, even if it is on a neutral field in Charlotte this week. We'll get into the matchup in just a minute. We're seeing this as about, I think, a 6.5-point line as we're doing this Monday morning. But Chase, first of all, tell folks who sponsors our content, please.
Yeah, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads during the games. You can bet on those. Think you know your stuff. You can get in on a $200,000 mega contest to pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, you can go in the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker or one of the over 150 slots games. Head over to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here.
All right, let's start with when Tennessee's got the ball. And yes, it was Chattanooga. And to be fair, and maybe it's not much, Chattanooga's not a garbage FBS opponent. I think it was ranked. Of course, you have a geographical rivalry. But boy, Nico Iamaleava and that offense were, I think, everything that Tennessee fans hoped they would be in week one. Tennessee does what it does. It runs the ball effectively. It throws the ball effectively, and it spread out the wealth to a lot of guys in week one over a very deep offense.
Nico Iamaleava looked like the real deal. 28 of 22, 314 yards, 3 touchdowns, average 11.2 per pass. And then you had a couple other guys get in at quarterback as well. Dylan Sampson also looking the part, 12 carries, 124 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Deshaun Bishop with a touchdown. So, I mean, and then you look at receivers as well. Dante Thornton, 3 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brew McCoy had 6 receptions. Chris Brazel, 6 receptions. Squirrel Wright with a couple. Dylan Sampson even made a couple of catches out of the backfield. And so this offense is what we thought they would be. There's a lot of preseason hype around. And I've said since the beginning, I wanted to wait and see Nico in a game as the regular starter before I made any judgments on him. Well, I've seen him in a game now, and I think he's the real deal for Tennessee. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this year and moving forward for Tennessee. But I think they're in a good spot when they have Nico on the field. And again, it's Chattanooga, but they're not a they're not a slouch. I mean, they're ranked in the FCS preseason poll in the top 10. I mean, they're not a bad football team that Tennessee went out and put 69 points on.
All right, let's talk NC State. The Wolfpack lost the Butkus Award winner from a year ago, but is still supposed to be competent defensively. A quality team, I guess, is a good way to put it. Not elite, but good. Week one was probably not what Dave Doran would have hoped. They gave up 21 points. That game, by the way, was a 10-point game inside the final 2 minutes when State got a late touchdown. But 6.0 yards per pass they gave up to Western Carolina, 6.3 per rush. And boy, Tennessee can move the ball. So yeah, I think that's one of my concerns here on this side of the matchup. I think NC State's defense, you really wanted to put the hammer down a little bit more before you play this offense.
Yeah, giving up 21 points to Western Carolina, I think there's something to be said about that, about the North Carolina State defense, maybe not where they want to see it right now. And again, you're about to play an offense in Tennessee that is just dynamic and so many playmakers all over the field. And so that's going to be interesting to watch. Are they going to be able to make the adjustments to stop Tennessee enough to compete in this game? And again, I don't want to take too much away from the Western Carolina NC State game on the Wolfpack. I don't know I didn't watch much of that one, to really see how the game flowed, but I think there are some concerns for NC State when you're playing an offense like Tennessee, who's going to put up a lot of points, I think, all season long.
Yeah, let's talk about the other side of the matchup. I think it's where it gets more interesting. Grayson McCall, who's played college football what seems like forever, super talented quarterback. Had a pretty nice week one, maybe wasn't as efficient with the ball as he would have wanted to. But NC State can run the ball a little bit. They average 6.2 yards carry on 33 rushes, threw it 30 times. So you're getting close to a 50-50 rush pass balance there. I think Tennessee's question is the secondary. Chattanooga wasn't really going to be able to pull off much, I think, with that defensive line. The Vols have got James Pierce and Amari Thomas and some other guys up front. Some guys in the linebacking core who are competent players too. I think the secondary is the question. I think that's what I'll be interested to see is where NC State is able to test the Vols. Can they protect long enough and get the ball downfield? And that's a question because when you got James Pierce Jr., who some think is the number one pick in next year's draft, that cuts down your windows to throw a good bit.
Yeah, and they threw a lot. There was 40 attempts for Grayson McCall throwing the ball. He was 26 of 40 in their game against Western Carolina. So he likes to throw the ball. Again, it will be tough. We've talked about this Tennessee defense. Who's going to be the guys in the secondary to step up and kind of lead the Tennessee defense. And I think we'll find out much more this week than we did this past week for Tennessee. As it'll be on a neutral field. You're not going to be inside Neyland Stadium. You'll be on a neutral field playing an NC State team who wants to go out and prove something after not really this past weekend. So, is it a guy like Keenan Peely? Is it Boo Carter, the high school guy who comes in, or is it Jordan Thomas or Jermod McCoy from Oregon State? Like, there's so many names I feel like we're just waiting to see, and I think we could see more of them this week and them kind of get a name for themselves.
Yeah, and where NC State can cause problems is KC Concepcion. I think it was the ACC Rookie of the Year last year.
Yep.
Had a big game the first game, and look, if you're going to get it done, Tennessee's got to find somebody to cover that kid.
Yep. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns the other night, 121 yards. Yeah, that's going to be a big focus, I think, for Tennessee is who they're going to put on him to stop him, and that's going to be a tough task for whoever it is. But that can be a way that that NC State is able to expose the Tennessee State defense a little bit. Is make him your primary target because he is fantastic receiver, and so. Tennessee's defense. We'll learn a lot about them, especially on that matchup and how they're able to match up with him in that game Saturday for sure.
By the way, thanks for the correction. They did throw it 40 times. I think I may have said 30. Ran it 33, so a little bit closer to 60-40. But when they ran it, Jordan Walters did have 20 carries for $123. So in addition to what we know McCall can do, you do have a competent running back there. And again, that's going to test Tennessee more than was tested in week 1 with Chattanooga.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is there's a reason that there's a number 24 next to NC State. I mean, like they were going into the season, there was a lot of hype around him. Will they live up to that? We'll see. And see how they do in the ACC. But this is a much better team that NC State is putting out there than what Tennessee saw last week. I think they'll be ready for it, and I'm excited to see this game. And you look at the line of whatever it is, 6.5, close to 7 maybe on this game, and you think, well, maybe the way Tennessee played last week, it should be farther ahead. Well, I mean, this is a good NC State team they're going against, and so I can understand why it's that way right now.
All right, let's give picks and why, and I'll start with you, Chase.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. I think offensively, they're dynamic, like I mentioned earlier, and I just don't know if NC State is going to be able to stop them as much as they need to, because again, I think Nico Iamaleava is the guy for Tennessee, and he's got some good receivers around him because he can throw, he can run, and I don't know if NC State has the personnel to stop him consistently.
All right. I usually have a pretty decent sense of what a line is going to be. And I thought that this would probably be maybe Tennessee 13 or 14 points. I know that it's in North Carolina, but Tennessee's going to travel there, as that fan base does. And that kind of freaks me out a little bit. You do see some teams get better from week 1 to week 2, but my gut is that this is – I'm not going to say Tennessee's going to blow out NC State, but the computer models I've got are showing this closer to an 18-point game on a neutral field. The line came out at, 4.5, 3.5, and it's moved to 6.5 as we do this Monday morning. I don't know if that's just a statement that Vegas is making that, hey, this this team's better than it showed in week one. And again, we do see teams disappoint in week one. Sometimes the biggest improvement you see is week 1 to week 2. But honestly, that line doesn't make sense to me. I just think Tennessee plays so fast. Now, if Western Carolina had come out, or excuse me, if NC State had come out, pitched a shutout last week, gave up 80 yards or something like that, I'd say, all right, maybe you got something that could stop Tennessee. I just feel like this is a pretty unbalanced matchup. And usually, to be clear, when I'm so far off what I think of what you're seeing in a line, usually I'm the wrong one. So that scares me a little bit. But my gut tells me Tennessee wins this one double digits.
Yeah, and they could. I mean, that's what kind of team we're talking about here. But it'll be fun, I think, especially for the Tennessee faithful. It should be, at least.
All right, we'll be wrapping this one up on Saturday night as we wrap up all the games. We'll be previewing other games. We'll be doing all kinds of stuff for this channel, talking basketball and baseball, even this week in the offseason. Best way to get all that content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps our analytics. If you want to advertise, we've got millions of viewers every year. Caroline.smith at Southeastern14.com is where you go with your advertising inquiries. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.